So far we have learned about the Tenkan Sen, Kijun Sen, Senkou Span A, and Senkou Span B. How are these lines related? You guessed it. They offer 4 levels of support or resistance. Take this chart for example, we see how price breaks the 4 levels of resistance in sequence. Starting from the Tenkan Sen, then the Kijun Sen, followed by the Kumo bottom, and finally the Kumo top. The strength of resistance increases in this order, and a break of each level provides us confirmation, if we were looking to enter a long position. Now let us revisit the Tenkan Sen Kijun Sen crossovers. We will explain how the Kumo can allow us to measure strength of crossover signals. A bullish cross above the Kumo is considered strong, while a bullish cross below the cloud is weak. Conversely, a bearish cross below the cloud is strong, and a bearish cross above the cloud is weak. All crosses inside the Kumo are considered to be of medium strength. This probably sounds confusing to you, especially if you are hearing it for the first time. Let us look at some charts now to make this clear to you. Without the Kumo, it is difficult to determine the strength of crossovers. With the cloud, this can be achieved at a glance. To the right of this chart, we see a bullish cross take place above the cloud. This is a strong bullish crossover. To the left, however, we also see a bullish cross, but this happens below the cloud, making it a weak bullish cross. Right in the center of the chart we see a bearish cross, and it is weak, because the bearish crossover happens above the cloud. Now some of you may wonder, what is the use of determining the strength of crossovers? Great question. Some traders use the strength of the crossovers for risk management, increasing their positions for strong crosses, and perhaps staying out of weak crosses altogether. One more point to add is that, as Ichimoku is a trend-following indicator, one of its drawbacks is the whipsaw, where the Tenkan Sen crosses the Kijun Sen repeatedly, causing traders to be stopped out. Some traders avoid entering on weak crossovers because those are frequently whipsaws, as we see in the weak bearish cross above. Let's take a look at another example. Again we see a weak bullish cross on the left, which had a short run up, before hitting a strong Kumo resistance. This was followed by a medium bearish cross inside the cloud. In the clouds, prices are consolidating, so some traders prefer to wait for prices to make a clear break from the Kumo, before entering a trade. One final example. As the bullish cross on the left happens under the cloud, it is weak, while the bearish cross on the right happens below the cloud, making it a strong bearish cross. Again, we see how the weak bullish cross was short-lived, while the strong bearish cross led to strong momentum. The Tenkan Sen Kijun Sen crossover, when used together with the Kumo, can be a very powerful combination. When prices are trending, they tend to deviate away from the Kumo, as well as the Kijun Sen. In other words, they are drifting further from the equilibrium. As prices deviate too far, price retracements are common. Therefore, some traders avoid getting into the trend if they are too late, and wait for prices to retrace before entering their trade. This also allows for better risk management. In this example, we see a strong bearish trend. We notice how price was close to the Kijun and Kumo early on in the trend, and deviated further as the trend strengthened. Assuming a trader enters a short position on the left, a logical stop loss will be above the Kumo, as the trader will enjoy 4 levels of resistance. If the trader were to enter a short position when price has deviated, and wants to enjoy 4 levels of resistance, his stop loss will be much wider. Just comparing these two trades, the risk-to-reward ratio is higher for the later trade. Therefore, waiting for retracements is common, as we will discuss next. In this example, we see a similar bearish trend. Notice how prices tend to retrace to the Kumo, if not at least towards the Kijun Sen. These would offer more conservative trade entries, as prices are effectively near their equilibrium. The next topic we are covering here is the Kumo shadow. This element of the Kumo is seldom taught, and often sounds mysterious. However, Kumo shadows are very simply clouds that exist behind price. This is something new, because we have so far only discussed current and future clouds. However, the cloud behind also provides us with useful support and resistance levels. We will show you next. In this chart, we see Kumo shadows behind price. From the flat portions of the Kumo shadow, we extend out horizontal red lines, which serve as resistance levels. Notice how prices consolidated when there were clouds behind, before testing the first resistance level. It is only when prices broke through both levels of resistance, did prices start to trend strongly. As seen in the example earlier, as long as prices have Kumo shadows behind them, they tend to consolidate. The further prices from the shadows, the weaker the shadow effect. Once price is far away from their Kumo shadows, or clear from any shadows, the probability of prices trending is higher. Let's visit two examples next. At the bottom of this chart, we see prices consolidating, with Kumo shadows close behind. Prices gradually got further away from the clouds, and began to trend stronger, the further they were from the Kumo shadows. In this bearish example, we also notice prices consolidating when the Kumo shadow was close behind. Once price was far away from the shadows, and finally cleared of any shadow, they started to trend strongly. With that, you should now have an understanding of how past, current and future clouds can provide you valuable information to aid your trading decisions. Now that you understand what is the Kumo, let's